The idea that Call of Duty could potentially be Xbox only now is... I'm very conflicted about this news. If you haven't heard about this, great. I'm super happy to be able to present it to you. But yeah, Microsoft has announced their plans to acquire Activision and Blizzard. Activision and Blizzard.
What?
That means stuff like Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, Overwatch, Diablo, Spyro, Tony Hawk, World of Warcraft. They will now potentially be under the roof that is Xbox as a brand, and there's a lot behind this between, I don't know, this is huge. Bethesda, that was for $7.5 billion. This is for $68.7 billion. The only other acquisition I can think of, I'd love for you to comment below and let me know more, is not even in the gaming world, which the previous record was like 12-something billion. The only other thing I can think of is Disney acquiring Fox and all of its IPs and shit for $71.3 billion. That is the only other thing in the entire entertainment industry I can think of that comes like to this level, specifically in terms of monetary value. And that's because Activision is one of the biggest AAA cross-platform game companies out there, but they're also under a lot of eyes right now, which admittedly that's going to be part of this video. But I have to talk about the games. I want to talk about the controversy just a bit because there's some big repercussions to this. And was this kind of a good move? And hey, it's Tony, also known as Samurai Kibiji, Westside Otaku, stuff like that. Love games and anime. And this is gonna be a story that I'm probably gonna have to do a live stream about because there's just a mountain of things I have to say about this that I won't be able to do in this single video, but I'll try to give an overview of some fun facts, thoughts, and dying to know your takes. That will be absolute chaos in the comments, I'm sure. So first off, the acquisition side of things. Acquisitions come with some good and bad to them. The good side of acquisitions can be, at least in the gaming world, I would imagine, is it could be a company that might have needed it, that might have died without it, you know? Think of maybe Telltale and other places like devs that might have needed it, or a publisher that might have needed it. And also maybe to add some value to the platform that it's going to be on. The bad side of it is definitely, you know, you're potentially robbing folks that were on other platforms that won't be able to have their thing that they've loved over there. It's a very divisive thing that a lot of fanboys are going to be like, yay, Xbox and stuff. But honestly, I could see the good and bad. And I was excited about the Bethesda one because that just seemed like it made sense. The Bethesda and Xbox have been buddies for a long time. This one is a lot more conflicting because let's just look at the games first off. Like, yes, you have developers that some of them are actually pretty gosh darn notable with what they have produced in the past, ignoring everything outside, just looking at their games. You know, you got Treyarch, you have Raven, High Moon, Beanox, Sledgehammer Games, Infinity Ward, Demonware, Toys for Bop. But the thing that I mostly want to mention is the games. And that is the idea that Call of Duty could potentially be Xbox only now is mind-blowing. I don't think that's going to be an actual thing. If they have the balls to do that, that'd be crazy. But they'd have to recoup it somehow, right? Sorry, Mike. I'll get into that and other controversial things in a moment. But the thing that I'm questioning with this is this really going to pay off? I would think, I'm not a business specialist. I didn't go to school for this. If you're watching this and you did, I'd love to know your thoughts because you're more educated than me. In 4 years, is this going to pay off? This isn't like a Disney Fox situation or even just Star Wars. You know, Disney bought Star Wars for 4-point-something billion. They released The Force Awakens. They made like a fourth of their payback off of that one movie alone. And they made that thing back in spades within the next 3 or 4 years. And that's what I would imagine when you make an acquisition like this, you want it to pay you back within the next 3 to 5 years. And I just don't see how that's going to happen with this, unless Candy Crush is generating billions every year. There was a report or something that Activision makes like 8-point-something billion a year. How? That's not going to make it up. And even though I know I'm going to attract a lot of people in the comments saying, oh, what a Sony pony or whatever, guess what? I don't even have a PlayStation as things stand. Well, I got a PlayStation 3. So I'm saying this as a person that's primarily on Xbox, but this doesn't excite me. Because honestly, the only games I can think of that would really excite me and I feel have a big enough presence to be a big deal is Diablo, Call of Duty, Overwatch, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot. I mean, World of Warcraft, obviously, if they can fix it or whatever, but it's just, StarCraft hasn't had a presence for many years. Tony Hawk just had their remake that apparently did really good, but is that big of a franchise? And I'm just struggling to think of super duper big games other than what I just listed. And those are big properties, especially COD. Like COD's definitely the machine for Activision specifically. And maybe Overwatch and World of Warcraft is for Blizzard. But I mean, I guess we're forgetting the god that is Candy Crush. Like even on the Game Pass side of things, you know, they announced with this that Game Pass has passed 25 million subs, which is great. And that's, you know, that means that could be generating $3 billion a year in revenue, which cool. Okay. And that's if everybody's paying it. 68 billion. The thing I love about Game Pass is that things can come day and date to the service, even if for whatever reason, Overwatch 2 and COD and Diablo, you know, even if for the first year or two this happens, a lot of their games come to PlayStation, that's cool because I won't have to pay for it if I'm on Game Pass potentially. That's how I felt about the Bethesda situation. And I'm excited to try out games from Activision. I didn't before. Stop for a second there. Don't click off the video because I know what you're thinking. We'll get to the controversial stuff in a second. I'm speaking specifically about Game Pass, and that's the one thing I love it is giving some developers or games, just players, opportunities to discover and not be stopped by a paywall of any kind except for their monthly subscription. But there's just no games that I personally resonate with Activision. You might be, and that's totally cool. And if somebody plays a lot of Activision games, this might be good news for you. And I'm going to come back to this because I want to just hit that controversial side of things because people probably heard me go like, yeah, I'd be excited to try out Activision games. Yes, I'm aware. The other big behind the scenes thing about this is the controversy and all the freaking crazy shit that Activision and Blizzard are surrounded by right now, which to immensely sum it up, basically Activision and Blizzard are being freaking stupid. There's a lot of lawsuits and evidence and just tons of stuff piling up that's showing that Activision and Blizzard have been A-okay with like sexual harassment and not fair working conditions and stuff to a lot of their employees. And a lot of it has been looking at females specifically. Their leadership has been like letting it fly for many years. That's basically the immense summary. I encourage you to look it up yourself. I'll try to remember to leave a link in the description if you want to like look at this timeline that I kind of breezed through this morning to look at what's been going on. And Microsoft willing to buy a company that is under all this fire right now is really divisive, I would imagine. A lot of people, like, it creates an image that I can already guarantee I'm going to see in the comments of this vid and everywhere. Like, oh, this means Microsoft is willing to support behaviors like this. You hold the phone there for a hot second. Because I understand that is a perspective that I totally can understand being formed. But Phil Spencer, the president of Xbox, whatever, and Sony and Nintendo, everybody's expressed how much they don't like what Activision is doing. And who knows, maybe I don't see how business-wise this would be worked out, but maybe this is something that Microsoft is like, no, screw that. You have a year to change your ways. Otherwise,
I'll do it myself.
Because they're not going to stand for this garbage. They're not going to stand for it. They have so many higher up females in charge of things important. They even posted their image of their, balanced workplace higher ups. They just aren't going to stand for anything that isn't diverse and represents equality. Like they're not going to stand for it. So I'm sure they're working out the deals of this transaction, and it's going to come with a lot of things that like, you can't do this anymore. You can't do this. And they have a year, Activision and Blizzard, to do whatever they technically want, but they better clean it up before this falls through in July to March, I think. Because if they don't, not happening anymore. And to me, that's really the best part of this, is that when it's all said and done, I have no doubt it's going to create a lot better working conditions for the employees of Activision and Blizzard. But is this transaction only about that? I just personally don't see it. I went around the internet before this and I saw like Bethesda before the transaction might have had a net value of $3 billion. Maybe that was without the IPs considered, and they bought them for 7.5. Well, I'm seeing similar things where Square Enix and Capcom were worth around the same as Bethesda was. So if they did another, let's just say $8 billion transaction for Capcom or Square Enix, hell, both, I would be really worried about fans of those two publishers, since they are multi-plat publishers. Well, Square lately has been really annoying with that. But you get what I mean? Like, that would actually address the main issue in terms of specifically just the games with Xbox, is that they don't have a lot of, JRPG or Japanese developer publisher stuff. And acquiring either one of those would have instantly fixed the issue. I don't think I would have wanted them to do that because, again, a lot of folks on PlayStation and Nintendo would be really pissed. But them putting this much money down for Activision and Blizzard, who are under so much fire right now, I just personally feel they could have spent even a quarter of that money. A quarter, hell, $10 billion on just like a Japanese developer or two to really balance them out. Correction, a Japanese developer or two and a fighting game studio to just round them out perfectly. I'm very curious where it goes, and I'm assuming there's reasons they had for doing it. I'm just personally not feeling this one as much, especially the money that they spent on it. Yes, that's how much Activision and Blizzard are worth technically, but I don't know. I want to have a live stream about this later, so feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments here, but you can find a link to that here. And don't forget to be geek, proud, awesome. And please, seriously, let's talk about it in the comments. I'm sure it's going to be chaos down there, though. And thank you so much for your time.